Hitchcock, Rock Springs, and the Treasury are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is September 2nd, 2022. It is the 245th day of the year. You got 120 days left. It is the 35th Friday in the 36th week and the 74th day of summer. You got 20 days till fall. If today's your birthday, you're a Virgo. Today is World Coconut Day. World Coconut Day on September 2nd recognizes the flavorful and nutrition that coconut brings to many products. Biologically, the coconut is a seed, nut, and a fruit, all in one package. And we use every part of it. The husk they use the water inside the shell. Its oil moisturizes our skin and adds flavor to a lot of our foods. It's like a superfood, the coconut is. All right, let's see what else September 2nd has given us. 1789, the United States Department of the Treasury is founded. 1862, the American Civil War. United States President Abraham Lincoln reluctantly restores Union General George B. McClellan to full command after General John Pope's disastrous defeat at the Second Battle of Bull Run. 1885, Rock Springs Massacre. In Rock Springs, Wyoming, 150 white miners who are struggling to unionize so they could strike for better wages and work conditions attack their Chinese fellow workers, killing 28, wounding 15, and forcing several hundred more out of town. The history of Chinese immigration to the United States is filled with many sad chapters. A lot of the Chinese immigrated to the United States to help build the railroads. When the railroads were built, they went on to other jobs. A lot of them went on to mining jobs. Now, this is a time in the United States history where there weren't a lot of jobs to go around. So to get by, a lot of Americans were willing to do hard and dangerous work. So were the Chinese. The Chinese, though, at the time, were willing to do it for a lot less. So there was a lot of animosity across the country towards the Chinese. There was a lot of different movements to actually throw the Chinese immigrants out of the country. The United States has a history of doing this with just about every demographic. I mean, it's not just darker skin demographics. I mean, they tried to kick the Irish out. Anyway, in Rock Springs, Wyoming, they had a pretty good mining operation that really wasn't paying anyone that much. So as the white miners struggled to create a union, they sort of saw the Chinese as a problem. As unionizing became harder and harder to achieve, and they realized they had no power to change anything, they kind of needed someone to take their frustrations out and their blame. They had to blame someone, and in this case, it happened to be the Chinese workers. Now, not like violence is the thing, but I can understand their point of view. Their employers are basically going, why are we going to give you more money when we could pay these Chinese less than what we're actually paying you? So I'm sure that's frustrating. I'm not saying the violence was the answer or anything like that, but I also look at it from the Chinese point of view. They're just trying to earn a living and get by any way they possibly can. So it was a bad situation all the way around, obviously, and especially for the Chinese. So on the day of the incident, September 2nd, tensions had been building up in this camp around the mine. A fight broke out at the mine between a few white miners and some Chinese miners, and one of the Chinese miners was killed. Well, after that confrontation got cleared up, everyone went back to their different parts of town. It was very segregated back then, and actually the Chinese portion of the camp was called Chinatown. Well, the white miners got their dander up. They grabbed weapons and decided they were going to go chase the Chinese off. So about 150 miners headed out to Chinatown, and they started beating and robbing any Chinese worker they had seen. And they finally get to the buildings that were housing the Chinese, and they just started shooting into them. And the Chinese ran out in all different directions. They left without anything, any of their belongings, anything. Off into the prairie they went. In the end, like I'd said, 28 were killed, 15 wounded, and the rest were gone out of the town. 1901, Vice President of the United States Theodore Roosevelt utters the famous words, "Speak softly and carry a big stick" at the Minnesota State Fair. 1939, World War II. Following the start of the invasion of Poland the previous day, the free city of Danzig is annexed by Nazi Germany. 1935, the Labor Day hurricane, the most intense hurricane to strike the United States, makes landfall in Long Key, Florida, killing at least 400 people. 1945, World War II, the Japanese Instrument of Surrender is signed by Japan and the major warring powers aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. 2010, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The 2010 Israeli-Palestinian peace talks are launched by the United States. Movies released on September 2nd, 1954, The Rear Window. Alfred Hitchcock's film about a wheelchair-bound photographer who believes his neighbor committed murder. This movie starred Raymond Burr, James Stewart, Grace Kelly, and Thelma Ritter. This film was shot entirely at Paramount Studios in Los Angeles. A set was created in the style of a Greenwich Village courtyard. It's been many years since I saw this movie, but I liked it, even though it was, an older movie, and I was probably at a stage in my life where older wasn't that cool and I didn't understand how, nice these movies were, but I really enjoyed it. Born on September 2nd, 1964, Keanu Reeves played Neo in the Matrix trilogy, a role in which he won a Blockbuster Entertainment Award for Favorite Actor in an Action Flick or Film. He starred as Constantine also, and he's John Wick, The Day the Earth Stood Still, 47 Ronin, that was pretty good. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's been in a lot of great movies. My Private Idaho, he starred in with River Phoenix, and that was a pretty good movie. And I really like the John Wick movies too. He plays a great part in that. He was born in Beirut, Lebanon, to an English mother from Essex and a Hawaiian father. Died on September 2nd, 1978, Fred Meyer, famous as the founder of the Oregon-based Fred Meyer Incorporated superstores. Meyer pioneered the all-inclusive shopping experience, which is kind of what Walmart and everyone else does now. During his younger years, he operated a street-side cherry vending business in Brooklyn, New York. He opened his first Fred Meyer store in Portland in 1931. His real name isn't Fred Myers. It's actually Frederick Gubinmeyer. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and he's the son of a grocer. He was married to Eve Meyer from the early 1920s until her death in 1960. Fred Meyer died on September 2nd, 1978 at the age of 92 at his Portland home. He died in his sleep after dealing with chronic heart disease and breathing difficulties over the last few years. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.